be doing another video or two today, and this time I'm going to be using this is little Boho Anya from the Greeting Farm, and I'm going to do a little bit of just minor altering. I'm actually going to swap out the bottom half, her skirt, with the legs from Simply Anya, and I'll do that later, but first I'm just going to start coloring her up. She's stamped with Memento Tuxedo black ink on Copic Express-It cardstock, and I'm just using my kind of go-to quick and easy light skin color combination, the E000, E00, E11. I'm just going to start here on her face with my lightest, the E000. I'm just kind of getting my color on. I am going to have a light source coming in from the upper left this time. So I'm going to kind of color everything with that in mind. Okay. Just getting color on there. Oh, and I don't want to forget her legs over here. Get those as well. Okay. So now the 00. Right over top the triple. And I just, kind of half the distance. I don't go all the way down to where I took the 000 the first time. I'm going to be a little bit heavier on this side of her face, just because there's going to be a little bit less sunlight hitting her over there, a little bit more on that side. So I can press a little bit harder with the marker here, and then try to use more of the tip with a finer touch on this side here, because I still want to bring some of the darker tone all the way around, because as her face, curves around, the under her chin area and stuff will get kind of thrown into shadow a bit. Okay, and then I'm always adding my color opposite the light source. Now my darkest is the E11. I'm just using this kind of as where the really shaded area is, so kind of where the hair is going to be casting a bit of a shadow. And on this side not so much, because my light's coming in here, but it's going to be much heavier on this side where her head is just naturally curving away, as well as that little bit of her bangs coming down and casting a shadow as well. Okay. We got this little flower kind of throwing a little shadow there. A little bit of curl there. Okay, and again, a little bit heavier pressure with my marker on this side. Very fine flicking and just a little feather touch on this side. I got a little carried away there, but I try to be lighter on that side. Okay, and do the same opposite the light source on here, just getting a nice little shadow going on. And don't forget under the skirt area, because that'll cast its own shadow. Now I'm going to work my way back up, so to my medium, the E00, and it's going to start right over the E11, because this is where now I'm blending. I wasn't really worried about blending before. But now is where I'm going to start getting these colors to get that smooth transition from one to the other. Just kind of always pulling towards the middle of the face. And I'm coming in much further this time than I'm starting to fill in that white area that was left white from the beginning. And then do the same right over the 11, the E11, down here, and on her legs as well. Okay. And then finish with the 000, the E000, and just starting in the center and blending into the E00. Not going all the way back into the E11 with this one, just into that medium tone. Same down here on her arms and on the legs. Okay, now before that really dries, I'm going to add in a little bit of pink for her cheeks. So I'm going to use my R00 and the R20. And I just laid down the R00 a little bit because it's going to help saturate the area where I want the color on her cheeks enough that it's going to dilute the R20 just a little bit. So it's not, the R20 isn't as in your face as if I just put straight R20 down. But you certainly could. I mean, it's not a big deal. And then I'm just going to use my E000 just to kind of feather that pink out a little bit. Blend into the skin tone. Okay. So I got that done. And that's drying nicely, and we've got a nice little smooth blend. These are pretty. These greeting farm images are really nice to, especially if you're practicing your coloring, because they got the big wide open spaces, and they're fun to experiment with and on. And you know what? I just noticed I forgot her little ear over here. There we go. Just a little bit of shadow underneath. Okay. So we are done with the skin. I'm going to move on to her hair now. Make sure I'm still in frame. Okay. So I'm going to give her a dark brown hair, not super dark, but definitely not a light brown. I'm going to be using E23, E27, E29, and a little bit of warm gray, the W8. And I'm going to start with my lightest again, the E23. And I always start at the part in their hair and go with the grain. And just kind of mapping out where my darkest areas are going to be once I finish coloring her up. And then I'm working up here. I want to get kind of a little halo effect with the highlight in her hair here on the top of her head. And so I'm going to be leaving it white here at first. Kind of this area up here at the crown of her head. And let's see, she's got some wavy hair going. And so kind of following the little dips in the hair. But I'm going to have this bump out area be a little bit highlighted. And there, like that. Okay, I think that'll work out nice. Okay, and then just do the same over here. And this one I could get more color down because I'm going to have more light coming in on this side of her hair than on this side. But we still want some highlights over here too. So, and then this is kind of bumping out, and then this is going, let's see. So I want this area actually is what's going to be away from the light. So I'm coloring this in. And then that becomes our little bump out of her curl, her little wavy hair. There we go, I think that'll work. And then over here on this side, got this little kind of bump out here. So most of that side is going to stay white here at first. And then, okay, because that little edge is bumping out towards the light, we'll do that one bumping out. Okay, so that's kind of mapped out where my darkest areas, you know, and then my lightest areas are definitely where the white is right now. So now I'm jumping up to E27, and I'm just going over that, just kind of not quite as far as the last time with the E23. And again, just getting color on, not worrying about blending these together yet. Just working pretty quickly. Okay. Not looking for perfection right now. And again, this is, with all this hair, I mean, lots of fun if you want to practice your different hair colors and techniques and stuff. You get lots of area to play on this, on these little girls. Okay, E29. And again, not going quite as far out. Just kind of hinting at those darkest areas. I have it heavier over here on this side, away from our light source. Just kind of work around those flowers. Her little shoulder and her scarf and stuff kind of definitely cast a shadow back there on that part of her hair. So you're always just kind of thinking in terms of, you know, what kind of, you know, with your light, if you're working with light source and stuff like that. It's not just thinking of the object as being three-dimensional, but also, you know, so everything on it, you know, like her clothes and stuff are all going to create obstacles for the light as well. Okay, so now I'm going to actually start working back down to the E27, right over top the 29, and this is where I'm blending now. And I'm just pulling from the E29 down even further than I did the first time. I'm going to do the same over here, pulling up, starting to fill in that middle area. I'll do the same over here. Always kind of working with the grain of the hair and how it's growing out of the head. And just kind of blend it all. Smooth strokes. And do this. And then just get this side over here. I'm not going to be, because I still want to leave this lighter. So, okay. So now the E23. I'm not starting all the way back in the 29. I'm just going to start kind of here in the E27 area. I'm just going to start blending that. And this is where you want to decide if you want super glossy hair to leave, you know, think about how much white you want to leave for a really high shine, big contrast. Totally up to you and what your preference is, your coloring style. I think on her, here at first we'll see. We'll leave a little bit of white and see how I like it. Usually I'm one who tends to fill it in most of the time, but that's where changing things up and having fun and playing is really how you learn and grow with these markers. Just try new things. Because I definitely, you know, have my comfort zones and combinations and stuff that easy and I don't have to really overthink or worry about, but it's when you start experimenting and playing and trying different stuff that you really, you know, kind of grow leaps and bounds forward, and you just keep being happier and happier with the results you're getting. Okay. So now I've got her, but I'm not done yet because I want to give even more contrast on this hair color. So I'm actually going to use a W8 just in my deepest shadowed areas. So in that part. And then back here on this side, there's this little dip I'm just very lightly going to go into there. I'll get down here a little bit there. Back behind these flowers, definitely I want to add some shadow. And then back underneath her face and head. And bring it out just a tiny bit here. I'll curve around there on that side. Do the same here. And this is just, you know, really reinforcing those waves that we're creating in her hair. We're not going to do too much over here because we still want this side lighter. But where it's tucked back behind that flower would definitely be darker. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of take my colors again, the E29, and I'm going to blend that out a bit. And I'm just working my way through the colors again, laying them on. And then to the 27. Not all the way back into that W I put on. But definitely blending it out from that E29 that we just put on. And then these little, you know, the dips and stuff, yeah, I'll go over it because there's really no help in it. As small as the little line that I put on was. And it'll help it blend there. Like over this line here. Okay. And then just finish off one last time. The E23. And I'm filling in a little bit more of that white that I left. Just going to have a hint of it showing. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Nice dark brown without being, you know, the E49 or E59, which are those darkest ones there. So yeah, it gives you, you know, you can use these E20s, which E29 is pretty dark as well, but by adding in that W, you can make it just that much kind of richer, a little bit darker. Okay, so you could be done there and just leave her nice and shiny. I'm really quickly going to take my E29 And you know, I like to add in my little low lights, which is the very tip of the marker. And I'm just going to follow really quick with little light strokes. Add in those little low lights right through the lightest and darkest areas that I just colored. Do the same on this side. And you know, follow the lines that they give you on the stamp, but you can always add in some of your own as well. Get a couple back here. I got a little heavy there on that side. When that happens, then I'll just go back in with my lightest or the middle tone and just kind of blend it a little bit if I get a little heavy-handed on some of those areas. And that'll just help it again, right over those lines. And smooth it out a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty. I'm happy with that. She's looking nice. Okay, so my next video I'll be back. We'll start coloring up her little outfit and do the altering, and I hope you'll join me again for that one. Let's see if you can see her there. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.